Hello. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, I'm just going to just teach you a little bit about discernment. Discernment is a really, really powerful gift. Um, I got discernment, and I guess I prayed for it, but didn't realize I prayed for it. It was one of those deals. I think what I asked God for was for Him to show me the enemy because I didn't know where the enemy was. And when I prayed that prayer, I had no idea the door that I was opening at that point in time. But it really is a pretty cool gift after you get the adjustment because it's quite mind blowing. Um, I was in college. I was going to Cal State Northridge, and there were people that were on the Northridge campus that were really heavily into witchcraft and Satanism. And it really surprised me because I had never really been exposed to it. I hate horror films and stuff like that. I never watched them. But anyway, long story short, God gave me the gift of discernment. And when it happened, I sat down and I wrote this poem. And it really does give you a really strong visual of what it's like when somebody does have discernment. The thing is that God had turned it up so high for me. It was crazy high at one point. And I told him, I said, Lord, I love you, but I just need you to just turn it down a little bit for me because I can't function like this. But honestly, it's an amazing gift because it helps you to be able to know what to pray for people when they need deliverance. And that's what it's all about, is helping people that get to the point where they really do need somebody to help them. This instructor that I was just going back and forth with, he said, one day you will realize that the very things that you believed in, you rejected, and you want to reclaim those things, but they won't let you. And I remember just this horrifying visual of him, and it was pretty gross. I heard a baby crying, and I saw blood coming out of his mouth, and it scared me. But you know what? It's really stuff that's going on. And I think that at this point, at this juncture in the world, I think people are really seeing it for what it really is. So I just want to share this poem with you. I do have to read it because it's pretty heavy duty and I don't want to miss a line, because if I miss a line, you'll miss something that's important. So it's called Mirror of Reality. And again, this is another one that I wrote that God gave to me. And I wrote it down and it was done. It was finished. It was a finished product. So it says, Mirror of Reality. Death walks by in a faded hood and painted on blue jeans. As he walks in pestilence with red tainted teeth and eye sockets with no soul, old bony fingers stretch forth in pestilence, trying to choke life from the young, vibrant children, those who have not walked far enough to encounter death firsthand. Bodies of flesh encompass evil, using money, power, and so-called education to isolate the living, trying to make them dead, turning their minds inside out, showing them shame. Black darts of hate pierce through innocent eyes, turning their minds inside out, playing mental ping pong with controlling power, tormenting souls of the living, trying to make them dead. As I walk through death, elbow to elbow with devils, my stomach churns, knowing in one moment the power of God can disintegrate death with the light of God's love. And here I stand ready for battle, fearing what has no power over me, knowing the longer I wait, the more death will overrun the world, taking the innocent and naive because they were too foolish to open their eyes and see. Now my eyes are open, and I realize all along, the people teaching me about life are already dead. too intelligent to know that they are blind and cannot see the sockets with no soul staring back at them in the mirror. I wonder what they would do if they could see through my eyes. And this is really powerful because it is the reality of what's happening, especially in our world. When you look at the things that these people like Diddy did and Epstein about taking our children, torturing them, there were crypts outside on Epstein's Island. And one of the things that they did in the Old Testament, pagan gods would require a child sacrifice, and they would burn the child alive. And one of the places on his island, on Epstein's Island, there was a crypt, and you could tell that it was used for burning. And I hate to even say that because it's so horrifying that any human being would do that, especially to a child. But people get so caught up in the evil that they're going through in Satanism and witchcraft. They think they control those spirits, but at some point those spirits begin to control them. And even people that were serial killers, they would say, I wanted to get caught because I couldn't stop myself. That's when a spirit takes over somebody's body and they cannot even control themselves any longer because that spirit is a part of who they are because they've opened themselves up to it. That's why it's so dangerous when you don't know the Lord. When you don't know Jesus, you don't know what you've opened yourself up to. And I'm telling you, this is not the kind of world you want to step into because some people can't get out of it. I met one man who opened himself up to Satanism. He came to us asking us to be able to pray for him and for him to be delivered. And he said that he had been drinking blood and that he would go into a frenzy. He was practicing Satanism, and I didn't know it. When he came to the altar and asked me for prayer, I was looking for my prayer partner, but she wasn't there. His family was all around him, holding him up, and I thought they were actually just holding hands, laying hands on him to help me pray. That's what I thought. But I found out later that this man had literally bit somebody on the nose and tried to tear off his nose because that pastor had not been prayed up properly and did not know how to do deliverance and literally left teeth marks in his nose. So when I laid hands on him to pray for him, there were a lot of people up at the altar, and it was really a fiery sermon. It was really a good sermon. So when the pastor called everybody up and I was there at the altar to pray for people, my prayer partner wasn't there, and I thought, well, I better hurry up and pray for this guy because there's lots of other people that need prayer. And at one point I started laying hands on him, casting out, the spirit of lust and perversion, and just God started giving me all the different spirits to cast out of him. And then the Lord said, Satanism. And I said, Satanism, Lord? And he said, Satanism. So I said, all right. And I smash, break, crush, and destroy every demonic spirit of Satanism from him right now. I cripple it. I smash it. I break it. I crush it. I destroy it. I grind it to powder. I grind it back again. I set it on fire, and I cast it into the lake of fire and bind it there by the chains of darkness till the day of judgment in Jesus' holy name. Well, he didn't jump on me. As a matter of fact, he wasn't totally delivered because he had so many spirits that were on him. But we did end up praying and fasting for him. We did get a team of deliverers together for him. He was delivered, and he had so many spirits on him that when it manifested, he started to rear up. It was just really kind of crazy. He started to rear up and growled at me. Okay. And I was so pissed off he did that to me. I turned around and I said, I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of Jesus Christ. You sit down and shut up. And he sat down and he shut up. And the man that was leading us in this particular group, he started to ask that gentleman that was possessed, what else he had done for us to be able to pray, like the lying spirit and all those spirits off of him. And the man turned around and he looked at me and the other gentleman that was the lead of that particular group at that time. He said, you have to tell him he can talk to me. But I'll tell you what, that man did not move. He did not speak until I told him, you can speak now, but you can only tell the truth. And that's exactly what he did. He spoke to him and he could only tell him the truth. When we were done and we had decided that we needed to have another time with him because he had gone through so much for the deliverance, he was screaming, oh my goodness, it was really something. And he was just, wow, he had it real bad. Real bad. I've never seen it that bad before, but he did. He had it real bad. And when it was time for us to leave, he turned around and he said to me, ma'am, can I get up now? That's how much power God gives to us when we walk closely with him. And when we get that spiritual discernment, which is a gift, that gift is supposed to be used to help people to be able to be delivered because they've walked too far on the other side and they need help. It's just like drugs. People that do drugs don't realize it's a controlling spirit, and that controlling spirit is the spirit of rebellion and witchcraft. And that actually is the root of that spirit. And that's why so many people, when they get caught up in drugs, they don't realize that they need to pray against that spirit, the spirit of witchcraft. You need to go into your word and say, Lord, and according to Micah 5:12, you said that you would purge witchcraft out of us, out from among us, and I need you to deliver me from that spirit. And people need to learn that not only do you smash, break, crush, and destroy that demonic spirit and cast it into the lake of fire, but you have to bind it there by the chains of darkness till the day of judgment, because if you don't, those spirits can come back. So you need to make sure that we cast them into the lake of fire. It's in Jude 6 and 7. It says that they need to be put there by the chains of darkness until the day of judgment. Otherwise, we keep doing it over and over again, where we're casting out the same spirits again and again and again. And we don't need to do that. If we're going to cast them out, let's cast them out right and put them where they belong so that we can go on and keep breaking down those demonic dominions. Because sooner or later, once those demons are gone and the territory demons don't have anywhere to reside because they don't have any people that they can reside on, then those territories will come down as well. So for example, Hollywood, oh my gosh, Hollywood has a spirit of perversion, of lust, of lasciviousness. It's just really bad, prostitution and all kinds of things like that. But then you go over to Beverly Hills and it's all about greed and money and lust also, but more greed and money because that's what they thrive on. So every territory has a different spirit that's over that territory. It could be hypocrisy, it could be drugs, it could be witchcraft, it could be rebellion. There's so many different ones. But if you notice, when there's a territory spirit, like in Hollywood, of lust and perversion, well, Hollywood is known for all the unbelievable prostitution. You drive down the boulevard, Hollywood and Vine. On one side, there's the women prostitutes. On the others, there's the men prostitutes. So you go around the corner, and then there's the men that are dressed like women. And, it's like it depends on what side you're on, who you're getting if you're buying. I mean, that's crazy, crazy. And I had no idea until a friend of mine took me down there and explained to me what was going on. There were so many people that were into prostitution that the cops couldn't possibly round them all up. And if you look on that movie, Pretty Woman, that's what it's all about. They were all into drugs and prostitution because that is the stronghold and the territory demon that is there. So, anyway, I just thought I would teach you guys a little bit more about that. Praise the Lord. And we can pray against territory demons, but remember, don't forget to put on the whole armor of God, and don't forget to break every assignment the devil tries to design against you for breaking those spirits. And make sure you cover your family and all your loved ones in prayer as well. God bless you and have a wonderful day.